drove his black luxury car past the same old beggar sitting outside his office building. The old man sat quietly on the pavement, wrapped in a faded blanket, holding out a small tin cup. Richard never stopped. He never looked. To Richard, the beggar was simply part of the city, someone he had learned to ignore. Richard was a successful businessman. He had money, power, and everything he thought a person could want. But one cold winter morning, everything changed. Richard walked out of his office with his phone still in his hand. He had just lost $1 million business deal. Years of work had disappeared in a single phone call. Furious and defeated, he loosened his tie and sat alone on a bench across the street. For the first time in years, Richard felt completely helpless. The old beggar noticed him. Slowly, he stood up and walked toward Richard. Richard barely looked up. The old man reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, worn coin. Then he gently placed it in Richard's hand. Richard stared at it in confusion. "I don't need your money," he said quietly. The old man smiled. "I know." He pointed at the coin. "But today, you need hope more than I need this." Richard said nothing. The old man sat beside him. "Many years ago," he began, "I lost everything. My home, my family, my work. I had nothing left." He paused. "One rainy night, I was sitting on the street, just like I do now. A stranger stopped beside me. He had only one coin in his pocket. He gave it to me and said, 'Keep going. Tomorrow may be different.'" The old man looked at the coin. "I kept that coin all these years because it reminded me that even when you have nothing, you can still give someone a reason to hope." Richard looked down at the tiny coin resting in his palm. For the first time, he truly saw the man sitting beside him. Not a beggar, not an invisible stranger, a human being who had suffered, survived, and still found a way to give. Richard closed his fingers around the coin. "Thank you," he whispered. The old man simply smiled and returned to his usual place. That night, Richard placed the coin on his desk. The business deal was still lost. His money was still gone. But something inside him had changed. Years passed. Richard eventually rebuilt his company and became wealthier than before. But he never forgot the old man or the little coin. He began using his wealth to build shelters, provide meals, and create support centers for people living on the streets. Thousands of people eventually found warmth, food, and a second chance because of what started with one tiny coin. Whenever someone asked Richard why he spent so much of his fortune helping strangers, he would point to the old coin sitting on his desk. Then he would smile and say, "Because this was the richest gift I ever received."